Hey there, Start here. We've got another unit exclusive weekly trial. Oh boy, love these things. This one at least is not nearly as exclusive as the Dark Rain event that we had last week. It's exclusive to ice tagged units. So anyone that has the ice tag or is in the ice category can come to this event. So it's a bit of a larger pool. Probably the biggest limiting factor is going to be your magic tank, because there are really only two ice tagged magic tanks for this fight, those being Triumphant General Celes and Solitary Patron Snow, who both coincidentally got leader skills this week. And so those are really your only two choices for the magic tank. So if you don't have one of those two units, then it might be a little bit of tricky to work around. I'm sure there might be a way to do it, and maybe that'll be something that I work on, but for this one, I'm using Celes, just to let you know. So let's get in here and take a look at what we are dealing with. So it's the Vision of Bahamut and Azura. They are 4 races: Demon, Human, Dragon, Reaper. Not easy to build for 4 different killers. Luckily, the free unit we got today, Raegan, the free Raegan that we got today, has a pretty good killer spread and caps all 4 of these fairly easily. So that's very, very useful, because he is going to be our primary DPS to basically carry us through this fight. It does have a break gauge. Woohoo. I know we all missed break gauges and how much fun those were. You can use swords, katanas, spears, and guns. We're going to use katanas. We're going to use the old Awakened Dragon Axstar to break the gauge in 1 turn, easily enough. Uses a mix of physical and magic. It only does physical on turn 1, and they are elemental physical attacks, so you can either build your team for evasion, you can use mirage, or you can build your team, or you can bring someone with elemental resist buffs, and we're going to be doing that last thing. We're going to be bringing Elena for some elemental resist buffs. It does do physical or magic mitigation depending on what you hit it with. So as long as you hit it with magic mitigation, as long as you hit it with a magic attack, it will put up magic mitigation every turn, allowing you to do physical damage every turn. And that's what we're going to be doing. If you wanted to do magic damage, you would basically go the other way around. Okay, it does use Mega Flare on turn 4. We're going to be able to handle that, no problem. Okay, so same usual achievements here. No continues, too easy. Clear without an ally being KO'd. We'll definitely do that one. The 5-turn mission, that one's a little, that's the one that's of course going to be the trickiest for everybody, but I think I have come up with a fairly budget team. I've gone as low as I can go. We'll just say that. We've made this team as budget as I can make it. Okay, so we've got Neovision Awakened Elena. We've got the free Raegan. I love the autoplay, the auto battles that they have incorporated now, because it made getting him to EX3 so simple. I literally just set it, made it do like 10 runs in a row, and came back like 10 minutes later, and boom, I had an EX3 Raegan. Beautiful, I loved it. Celes is, my Celes is EX2, yours does not have to be. I'm going to use her like an EX0. You could get away with an EX0 Celes the way that I'm going to use her, and that'll be just fine. I am using Fryevi, and she does need to be at least EX +1. They are giving Fryevi away in the Clash of Wills shop currently, and you can pick up 2 copies, which means an instant EX +1 Fryevi. I highly recommend picking her up if you don't have her already. Great ice support unit, and she can bring a little bit of damage. She will actually do a little bit of damage on this one. We've got Awakened Dragon Axstar there. That's the original first Neovision Axstar. So I feel like this is a pretty budget team. A free unit, a free NBA. You've got Fryevi and Celes, who are both in Clash of Wills shops at some point in time, and then Axstar, who is like the oldest, one of the oldest Neovisions out there. So you should at least have him. He should be EX1 for this fight too, by the way. It does not have to be EX2, but EX1 is necessary to follow this strategy. All right, so let's talk about the gear real quick. All right, Elena, you can just sort of build her for whatever in this form if you want. I did build her for some killers. She will do just like a little bit of chip damage for the team. So she's got a little bit of killers. She caps Demon and Human real easily, and then some Reaper. She doesn't have any Dragon Killer though, so don't worry about that. I actually gave her Fryevia's vision card, because whatever. In her Brave Shift form, she just needs to be full evade, 100% evasion. I gave her Ring of the Lucii because I'll mention a couple of different ways you can do the strategy, and having Ring of the Lucii is pretty important. That's the original Noctis's TMR. You should have one of those at least lying around. And so, yeah, I'll just talk about that later. 10,000 Needles is not necessary. That was for a previous strategy I had figured out. She just needs to be 100% physical evade for the turn 1 AoE physicals. Raegan, so I did decide to build him true dual wield instead of true double hand. You could really build him either way. He builds pretty easily either way, and the damage is, it pretty much shakes out to the same, I think, but building him true dual wield is easier to gear, I think, and it's more consistent in the damage. So I just decided to do that. And so here's the gear. He hits, yeah, pretty budget vision card there. You can buy that in the shop if you want to. And he hits all the killers pretty easily. So with Bahamut Esper equipped, he's got Demon, Human, Dragon, Reaper all maxed out, 300% LB damage. He is ready to rock and roll. He's looking good. I do not have the break damage boost on my Raegan. Definitely lots of room for improvement here. You see I only have one piece of Clash of Wills gear. You can obviously bulk him, or give him even better stats here if you have them. And obviously if you have the Esper Ores to do the break damage boost on your Bahamut, that will give you an extra 50% damage boost, which will definitely come in handy finishing this fight if your gear is a little bit worse. So if your units aren't as strong as what you see here, doing that break damage boost on your Bahamut, and I'll show you what I mean in case you're wondering what I mean by that. Let's take a look. So you'll see it up at the top, the break damage boost. Yes, I know I have insufficient. Just show me. So this is the 50% damage boost you get if you are attacking a boss or an enemy that has a broken break gauge. Okay, I have not activated it, so there's an option to increase your damage output a little bit more. Celes, pretty much just geared for a little bit of bulk and elemental resists across the board so that she takes basically no damage throughout the fight. Nothing too fancy here, and this is all pretty overkill actually. You'll see she takes very, very little damage throughout the fight. And there you go. She does have a leader skill. I'm not going to show you her Brave Shift form, but if you had a Brave Shift form, you would just build her the exact same way. So if your Celes was EX1 or 2 or whatever, build her the same way in that form, and that would be just fine. She does have a leader skill. It is, unfortunately, it is 100% defense and spirit for ice category units. No attack and mag buff on there, but it is what it is. Fryevia. So I did build her for a little bit of damage in her normal form because she will be dropping her normal form LB to do a little bit of chip damage on the burst turn. Okay, so full LB damage boost. She's got 300 Reaper, 200 Dragon, 300 Human, 150 Demon. So nice little spread there. She hits Human and Reaper very easily on her own, so just give her some Dragon and Demon killers to sort of fill that up. Call of the Wild is pretty important because since our Fryevia is only EX1, she will not be able, she won't have a full LB gauge to use her her Frost Blossom ability when we need it, and so that just makes sure she's got plenty of LB fill for when we need it. Okay, in her normal form, also built her for a little bit of attack, but also full evasion for the to evade the physical attacks on turn 1. Also Call of the Wild in this form, so she basically double dips on that because she's going to shift on turn 1 and get basically 16 LB fill in one turn, which would be nice. Oh yeah, and Axstar, of course, can't forget Axstar. So dual wielding katanas so that he can double up his break gauge damage. You do have to give him something to make him dual wield, so I gave him Genji gloves so he can dual wield. He's also 100% physical evade in this form. Not really doing any damage in this form, just evasion. I do give him that special Memories of Axstar vision card that we got last year. It does not help him. But in his Brave Shift form, he can hit pretty decent attack stat now that he can do 400% true dual wield, so that's kind of nice. 2 Ultima Blades for the LB damage, because we will use his LB on turn 4 just to do a little extra chip damage. And yeah, and then let's see, what do we have on this killer spread? 175 Demon, 300 Human, 250 Dragon, 125 Reaper. Yeah, that's not too bad. 250 LB damage. That's good enough. All right, as you can see, that'll be more than enough to get this job done. All right. So that's our team, that's our gear. Let's get in here, see how we get this done. All right, first thing we'll do is we'll let Axstar break the gauge with triple lethal mind. Okay, Helena is going to do Crystal Refragmentation. That's for the 100% all element resist buff. And then Blessing of the Azure Crystal for some buffs. All right, Freyevia is going to go ahead and shift into her Brave Shift form. We'll do Aurora Key Pressure for the brakes. Make sure you've upgraded it to level 5 so that you get 2 uses. We are going to use it twice in this battle, so it needs to be fully upgraded. Also, if you fully upgrade it, it gets the better brakes. So obviously 2 reasons you want to fully upgrade it. All right, Raegan is going to do his I'll Sever Fate with the Gunblade. Okay. That's for the LB damage buff and the mod boost to his LB. And then Celes is just going to be on pretty much rinse and repeat. Like I said, I'm going to use her just like an EX0 Celes so that you can see that you don't need an EX1 or EX2 Celes to do this fight. Even an EX0 Celes will still be plenty bulky enough to handle it. Alright, so see, you'll usually resist, you know, at the very least, you'll resist one of the AoE physicals, if not 2. Normally, you resist 2, one of them gets through, that's fine. Raegan's bulky enough, you can handle it. Okay. Alright, Elena is now going to shift. Do Way of the Blossom, Crystal Refract, Piercing Prism. If you did have an EX1 Celes or higher, on this turn you would want to shift her. Okay, you'd want to shift her and use Life Devoted to the Opera because it does a 100% dragon killer to the party. So you would do Life Devoted to the Opera, Invincible Swordplay, and Opera to think of her lover on this turn. Okay, and if you did that, you would then have Elena do, where is it? Oh, it's in her shift form. You would have Elena do Alterna, all right, to do that magic attack to make sure the boss keeps up magic mitigation and not physical mitigation. Okay, but since we're going to assume your Celeste's EX0, we'll do it this way. Way of the Blossom, Crystal Refract, Piercing Prism. All right, Freyevia is going to shift. We'll do Aurora Key, Frost Blossom, Double Riposte, and Insistence for the Mag Store buff. That's for her LB for next turn. Axstar is going to shift, where he's actually built for some damage. We'll do Double Raining Blade and Death Blade. Raegan will do his LB. Alright, hopefully my chains don't break. Apparently I have a really big issue with chaining Mirror of Equity. I don't know why, but the chains tend to break on me a lot. Hopefully they don't break on me this time. Alright, so we'll start with Fry and Elena, obviously, to get the Ice Imbue and the Amp and all of that stuff. Okay, nice little burst, reload, repeat on Celes. Alright, Freyevia is going to do her LB, Elena's going to shift. and do her Brave Shifted LB for the Demon Human Killer buffs. Okay. SLB and triple Raining Blade. Okay. And that should do it. So you'll start Fryvia first. She's got a bit of a wind up, then send Axstar and Raegan. Okay, rinse and repeat on Celes. Alright, so you see the boss has put up an attack and mag buff. You want to get rid of that, or else the Mega Flare will, it has a chance to kill Celes, we'll just say that. Alright, so it has a chance to nuke your party, or your tank rather. You don't want that. Alright, so that's why we're going to use Aurora Key Pressure again, because it has a perfect dispel on it. So chaining this turn is a little wonky. We're going to do Aurora Flick, Aurora Key, Aurora Flick. Elaine is going to come back and just do triple. We'll do Blade, Refract, Piercing Prism. Axstar is going to do his LB. And then we'll do Fill LB, Double Multi-Trigger. Alright, so you want to start Axstar first, because it's got a little bit of a wind up before he starts dealing damage, and you really just want the last 4 hits of his LB to land within the chain, because those are the ones with the big modifier. Everything else is just kind of a wind up. So let him go first, let him, wind up, and then you can send the rest of your chainers. Alright? You see that quick little, burst of damage right there. That was Axstar's LB there. All right, yep. Celes, just rinse and repeat. All right, and hopefully, if all goes well and we haven't screwed something up. As long as my chain doesn't break. Yeah, I always forget to give him more MP. That's alright. We'll, I think, is there one that hits 2 times? Yeah, there's the one that does 2 times. That'll be better. So we'll do double lethal. Obviously give him more MP so you can do triple lethal. You don't have to worry about it. Can't even do that one. That's fine. We'll just have Elena finish off the break gauge with triple Blade of Salvation. Alright, triple Bind Plus for the triple AMOE chaining. Now, if you really wanted to be sure that you were going to finish the fight, my suggestion would be to shift, and you had, if you had EX1 or higher Celes, I would suggest you shift and use her Brave Shifted LB on this turn for the better buffs and the LB damage buff. Alright, that's just something you can do. I'm not going to worry about it. Like I said, I'm going to assume yours is EX0, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, so let's just chain these guys up and hope that it doesn't break on me. And there you go. Alright, all missions clear. That's as budget as I can make it for you guys. So obviously if your units are better geared, if you've got better equipment, better units, whatever it may be, this one shouldn't be too much of an issue, but that is pretty much the bare minimum that it takes to get across the finish line with this team. So there you see we did, I think the boss has, I think it's got like 13 billion, so you see we just did 13 billion with this team. And so yeah, that's pretty much what it takes on the lowest possible denominator. All right. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. Hopefully this helps you get all those silver crowns for Rain and Fina, which, funny enough, they can't even come to their own crown battle because they're not ice tagged. I think that's pretty hilarious that you can't actually bring the unit to the crown fight for the crowns that you're getting for that unit. Pretty amusing. But anyways, that's how we got it done. Free Raegan is definitely a strong unit, so definitely pick him up, get him to EX3 as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and I will see you on the other side.